we have with us in the studio global affairs analyst Dr. Victor Okhai. Thank you very much for being here. At first, people were saying, oh, it's far away, it's not close. It is here with us. Nigerians are stranded across the world, not just in Tel Aviv, you know, and then we have this situation at home where the U.S. Embassy is telling its people there's likelihood of protests. What are your thoughts about the play of events in the last couple of days, especially as Nigeria is coming into the middle?
It's closer than we know. It's already affecting us in so many ways. Yes, you're right about Nigerians that are, I mean, obviously you would find, because we're all over the world, you know, Nigerians that are stuck in various countries in the Middle East and all that. But that is only a small aspect of it. You know, obviously that we're going to feel it in our pockets very soon. Because yes, there will be a rise in the global oil prices as there is already, but that also means that eventually, because even in our refinery here, there are additives that we get from other parts of the world as well. And so what you're going to find is a situation where even the refined products are going to go up. It will affect air travel.
It's already up.
Exactly.
Earlier today, I saw it's 900 and something.
It's going to go by. It's going to go by 1,000 very shortly. So it's closer than we know. But with what is happening, we have trouble in our backyard because obviously you know that the Shias in Nigeria, led by El Zakzaki, whose headquarters is in Zaria, Kaduna, Zaria, I think, they're funded from Iran by the Iranian, the Khomeini and the rest. So the oxygen supply is not just threatened right now because the death of Ali Khomeini poses an existential threat to them as an organization.
But the advisory that's been given, we've had a bit of protest.
Yes.
When in solidarity with Iran by this group.
Yes.
And there was no violence reported in that incident.
Yes.
So what could be bolstering the intelligence that the Americans are having? Should we be doubly worried that they're issuing such an advisory now?
Let me quote you from what you said earlier on. When you said, you know, that protests in the past, there have been clashes between them and the government.
No, that is part of the statement, and yes, we know there's evidence.
So the reason for that is that there's no love lost between that organization and the government. You remember when El-Rufai was in Kaduna, what was happening? Yes, they are Muslims, but they are not the best of friends with other Muslims. Let me put it that way. You know, so when they come out like that, and because they come out in huge numbers, honestly, if you've ever encountered them, it can be scary. When they do the annual march, it's like the sheer numbers can be intimidating. And most governments would not feel very comfortable with that. And any violence can erupt and it can easily go out of hand if things are not properly managed. And so they have protested. They will still, I think, continue protesting. But it's not just them. Other Muslims as well, there are those who are not happy with the situation because they feel that what has happened to, in spite of the fact that even the heart of Islam, what you call it now, the custodians, Saudi Arabia, are against Iran. You know, all the GCC countries are up in arms against Iran as well. But so the situation right now is volatile and remains unpredictable. So it's better to just exercise caution, which is what the Americans are doing or advising.
So what about Nigerian government? So far, we know that the new Inspector General of Police has said officers will be deployed to forestall any breakdown of law and order in terms of the protests that were proposed earlier. But on a larger scale, considering what is happening, what are some of the moves you would expect the Nigerian government to be making now?
The first thing I'll say is the Nigerian government should not take sides. Because either way, you will be ruffling some feathers. So it's best that the Nigerian government remains unallied in this situation. Just stay neutral so that you don't ruffle feathers, okay? And If that is done, the policemen that should be assigned should be policemen who are properly trained in managing crowds, okay? And so if you get policemen who go out there and they want to exercise violence or deal with the crowds in a violent way, it will soon erupt and anything can result therefrom. So, and I think that it is important that they maintain very good intelligence as well, because that helps forestall any potential threats. And so if the intelligence network is very effective, they would know where the next moves are going to be and how to checkmate them.
All right. Let's talk about the impact this is going to have on citizens. Already, prices of fuel is going up. People are stranded around the world, and diplomacy seems to be falling down. How should Nigerians generally put to mind what is happening, react and plan, and perhaps find a way to buffer the challenges that is likely to come if there is no de-escalation? Okay,
I would usually say that with wars, you know the beginning, but no one can ever predict the ending. Someone asked me earlier today if this is World War III, and I said yes. Because already, what does it take? Even in the First and Second World War, it wasn't fought on African soil, but Africans were involved because of the colonial ties, strings at the time. The same thing is happening. Notice what Iran is doing. It's not going down alone. What Iran is doing is, today they've hit, what you call them now, Turkey, okay? Turkey has been drawn in. They were on their own. They drew in Saudi Arabia, drew in Bahrain, drew in Qatar and the rest by bombing all of them. So what they're basically doing is, look, we're not going down alone. They're bringing everyone in. And with what's happening, obviously, there's China on the one hand. Russia obviously has enough on its plate, so it's not going to get involved in this. Certainly not with its 2 feet in, because the Ukrainian trouble is enough. China is mindful of its relationships with America. It might not get drawn in, but Iran is certainly not going down alone, and it is causing as much damage as it can. And what are the kind of damages that you can see? It's blowing up oil installations, it's blowing up so many critical infrastructure around the GCC country areas, and drawing people who ordinarily wouldn't have even been involved in this into the fray, and it's causing a lot of problems. So, but for us as Nigerians, I think that travels, this is one of those times when, because you cannot predict, there are people who are stuck right now, in some of these countries, so we should be mindful about our travels. And this is one of those times when east or west, all right, home is best.
Doctor, I want you to speak to rhetoric we should be watching out for at this time, considering how tensed everywhere is, and with the concerns over possible Shiite protests. What kind of rhetoric do you expect? What kind of rhetoric do you expect to hear from our leaders? In 30 seconds, if you can.
First, that we must maintain the peace. It's very, very important for us. What is happening right now is not exactly our business. And it's important to remind people that all kinds of people are involved in this right now. Like I said, Saudi Arabia, you can see that Qatar and Saudi Arabia, who are not necessarily the best of friends, have now united in this cause. You know what I mean? Talk about the enemy of my enemy being my friend, okay? So when you look at things like that, then you know that in Nigeria here, we cannot be more Catholic than the Pope. We should just stay focused on our internal domestic issues. And of course, that right now we have enough on our plate, Boko Haram and all of that. So we must not be distracted. We should ensure that we...
Yeah, especially seeing as the government hasn't made any official statement in that regard, other than urge de-escalation. Thank you very much for speaking with us.
Thank you for having me, as always.